Hi, everybody. Gloria Moraga here. I am doing a after the debate live, and I'm double recording. I'm going to post this on my YouTube channel. No, not my YouTube channel. I'm going to make a podcast out of this. I did a Biden. All right, here's what happened. First, the debate. The debate was like a train wreck. You know that movie where the kids are making a movie and the train wrecks right in front of them? And they just happen to get the shot of the train actually wrecking. It was like that watching the debate. I feel much older than I was a couple of hours ago. So here's what happened to me. I told everybody I wanted to be left alone, meaning my loved ones. And of course, I get the call, can you please pick grandson up at the gym? He's trying to bench press 7 million pounds or something. So I go to get him. And I don't know how we got delayed, but I walk in and the debate's begun. So I watch it, and it's okay. Trump's lying like a rug, as my brother used to say. Trump's lying left and right. And my takeaway at first was, what the F? Why aren't they fact checking him? And then I remembered. Keith Olbermann had said in his podcast that they weren't going to fact check, that they were just there. I guess they're not journalists. They're just going to be there as moderators. And so he was lying and lying and lying and making all kinds of accusations and no fact check. And apparently it was up to Biden to fact check. And when Biden tried to fact check, they would cut him off. And actually my grandson was in the other room and he said, did they just cut him off? And it's like, yes. But see, I missed all the drama because I was like a few minutes late. And then I made the stupid mistake of watching MSNBC, and oh my God, it was as if the world was coming to an end. It was like they were just down in the dumps, depressed. There was one lady, Claire Haskins, I think, I'm not quite sure of her name, I love her, who looked suicidal because apparently Biden had a rocky start. And if you watched my live shot earlier, I talked about his speech impediment. So he has this, problem with his speech, but it wasn't that. The White House later released a press release that said he had a cold, that he's been fighting a cold the last few days. And that's what it sounded like. It did sound and here's what it was. I watched it all back again after all the drama from Rachel Maddow and friends. I love all those ladies. And Joy Reid, oh my God, my favorite. So, but they're all like suicidal because Biden was done so badly, quote unquote. So I cleared the decks and I watched it back from beginning to end again. And yes, here's what. Being a political person, but also being a former television reporter, and his voice was weak, and what he was doing, because he didn't feel well or because his voice was weak, he was talking really fast. And I've talked about this on my podcast. When I first started reporting and I first started anchoring, I would just get on there and I would just go, blah, 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 blah. And all my friends would say, slow down, slow down. Well, Biden was talking really, really fast and his voice was weak. But then he got his stride. Okay. He got his stride, but I don't know, I guess by then people had given up on him. And so you should see the headlines. I'm looking at all the major newspapers right now. And it's just, wow, Biden should quit. Blah, blah, blah. The people, the delegates to the convention want to get rid of him. On and on and on and on. Like, Democrats are panicking. They're like having this breakdown. And it's like, all right, everybody, take a deep breath, take a step back, and calm down. Yes, no. I mean, he's not going to get younger between now and November. But as I said earlier, you want your president to be really smart and with it. He's still smart and with it. He had a cold and he felt bad. But everyone's panicking. And the question is, I'm getting this little note if I want to quit, go like this, but I don't want to quit yet because I want to read some of the fact checks from some of the newspapers. And I see a comment, a very disappointing CNN. CNN, it's been going downhill for a while. But tonight was like, I don't know, the last nail in the coffin. You're making the coffin and it's like, you're done. And you get ready to put the body in there with the lid, nail the lid down. Holy cow, what the F are they thinking? Why would they put Trump on stage and not fact check him? You have a responsibility of putting this man who wants to take over the country and have a dictatorship, and he wants to be dictator, and it's all out, and he says it every day, and it's all written down, online. Project 2021, go to the Heritage Foundation. They're hiring people. They've got people ready to work to wipe out, they want to end the Department of Education. They want to, yes, I agree. We have too much bureaucracy, but I want to shut down Health and Human Services. Well, so CNN, they didn't fact check at Trump at all. Not at all, nothing. And that's irresponsible. You shouldn't do that. So Biden's there struggling, doesn't feel well, already has a speech impediment, old, but smart and still doing great things for the country. But Trump's just lying, spewing out all the lies. And it was just, I don't know, it was maddening, but it was also, wow, what happened to television news and what happened to facts. I used to do election night on the set here in Sacramento when I worked at Channel 10, the ABC affiliate. And we had a woman by the name of Jenna Heinrich. I'm sure she doesn't mind me saying her name. And she would fact check. I would be on the air. And she was like our secretary, but she was also our, she did all of our budgets. So she was a budget person. But she would go online and she would say in my ear, Gloria, it's this, this, and this. It's easy to fact check. And, CNN, I mean, they have hundreds of people that they could hire to do the fact checks, and it doesn't take that long. I don't know. It just, it's like journalism's dying right before our eyes, right as people aren't interested in voting, right as, we've got social media, and it's more fun to watch videos on social media than it is to, read a long article. And we're very shallow. We're very shallow. He's old. He can't walk. I mean, it's like, come on. He's doing a really good job with NATO that Trump wants to end. Trump doesn't quite understand how NATO works. We're all equal partners in NATO. He keeps saying, oh, make them pay. It's like, no, nobody pays. It's not that kind of a thing. So, the debate, yeah, I watched it, picked it up like 10 minutes in, and then I had to go back and I watched the whole thing again. And I'm getting comments, and Joe Biden is really smart. Okay, I know you don't are just going to take my word for it, but I've covered a lot of presidents. So I, when I was a reporter here in California, I mean, I covered Gerald Ford, and I covered Clinton. I traveled with Clinton. I covered John McCain. I, worked on Capitol Hill for 10 years. And you really know what Joe Biden is he's a nerd. He's a political nerd. He's a policy guy. And he knows politics, and he knows, how to deal with foreign governments. And he's really, really smart. Is he the best on camera? No. He's not Barack Obama. And as much as I dislike Donald Trump for his things, for the graft and corruption in January 6th, which was tragic, as much as I dislike Donald Trump, he was on The Apprentice, and so he has a way of faking it on camera. So he's as dumb as dirt. Okay, he's really dumb, Donald Trump. But he fakes it really well. And this is where we are right now in our society. And I see comments, but no, I don't have TDS. Or here's what I have. I have a great love of our country and politics, and that's what I have. It's pure, and I mean it. This is not just BS. So, just about NATO and Ukraine and all that, I'll just say briefly, because I wanted to get to the reading of the fact checks. There was a big, big swell before World War II in the United States of isolationism. And, America first. We have to take care of ourselves. We do. I think we need to take care of ourselves as well. But the world is too dangerous, and the world is too small right now to think that we can thrive by being isolationists. We can't. It won't work, because it didn't work in the 1930s. The United States didn't want to get into World War II. The United States, as my father would say, and excuse my language, the United States was really chicken shit about World War II until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. That's what got us into the war. But prior to that, no, we weren't going to do it. And that was the isolationists didn't want to get involved in that war over there. And that was why, and that great line from The Godfather, where Clemenza tells Michael when he's teaching him how to drop the gun, Clemenza says, we should have taken care of Hitler in Munich. That's, England was begging Roosevelt for help, and he didn't give it to him. We didn't help London when they were being bombed by the Germans, because there was this isolationism in this country. And look what happened. Hitler flourished. So, I'm a big history nerd and as well. But Biden, everybody's overreacting to what happened tonight, or what happened in the debate. Biden's doing a great job. I know it sounds hollow, or like, what the hell does she know? But I do know about this stuff, and Biden's doing a hell of a job. Here's what we have right now. We have the best economy in the world. The United States has the best economy in the world right now. Okay, we have unemployment is at so low, people don't believe it. we've come out of the recession. I mean, and almost a depression because of COVID. And we're working and we're building factories here and we're taking over. We've got the CHIPS Act, which is helping us compete with China and Japan on with technical stuff. So I mean I could just go on and on. The Infrastructure Act is my favorite bill. I'm building roads because I love engineering, and there's so much that he's done, but he's underappreciated, and I know why. Because he's not smooth, and he's got terrible communications people working for him because nobody knows anything about what he's done. They don't know. They're not doing it right. So I'm sorry. So many people do just like Biden, but he's doing a great job for us. And I don't know if you remember, I don't know where people were when we had 1 million Americans dying from COVID and what that clown was doing. And don't start talking about Dr. Anthony Fauci. I interviewed Dr. Fauci. That was one of my beats when I worked in Washington. And I covered when AIDS was ravaging the gay community and what Fauci was doing. And he helped find a vaccine or, got help to fight AIDS. So I digress. I'm going to read a little bit from the New York Times, but I also have great fact check from The Guardian. And it might be better just to start with fact check from The Guardian. Abortion. Trump claimed that Democrats support abortion until birth, and that everybody in the world, I mean, he started small, but then he said, everybody in the country, and then he said everybody, on earth supports the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And, then he said, like, the whole world believes it should have been given back to the states. And they didn't correct him at all. And Joe Biden tried to correct him, but it was just, Biden had so much to do. Here are the facts about late-term abortions. Late-term abortions are commonly used, and this is from The Guardian I'm reading, a common line of attack among Republicans, but it's a myth. Less than 1% of abortions in the U.S. are performed at or past 21 weeks, largely because they only occur at 21 weeks because of fetal abnormalities or lack of access to care early in the pregnancy. And as far as Roe, and this is from The Guardian as well, quote, Roe remained popular throughout the half century it was in effect, so 50 years. Of course, the anti-abortion activists always wanted to get rid of it. So when Trump says everybody, he's talking about, the Christian right who are kind of deciding, running the country right now as far as, let's have the 10 Commandments in class, in schools and, all of this nonsense. There have been, the anti-abortion people, but, health care for women is a right to privacy issue. And we should be able to have the privacy, which is guaranteed in the Constitution, to talk to our doctor and make medical decisions about dangerous things that might be happening to our body. But the whole thing that Trump was going on and on about, oh my God, it was really bad. He said, babies are killed, they're alive, they're born alive, and they're murdered. And, I'm sorry, it's not true. And I don't know where he gets some of this stuff from, except And I see somebody saying abortion was never a constitutional right. It was via Roe. Okay, it was via Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade was based on the right to privacy. That's what it's based on. It's based on women have a right to make medical decisions, and they have that right to privacy. So when you say that, I mean, I don't know if you understand what the Constitution is. It's and what the Supreme Court does. It's just like guns. It's the same thing. The founding fathers, didn't know we were going to have automatic weapons, gunning down children in schools. So, uh, Roe versus Wade and the whole abortion issue is a right to privacy, to medical privacy. So anyway, the environment. Oh my God, the Trump environment sound bites. Woof! You know how Trump feels about the environment. It's like, damn the environment. And, I want to, as an older person, always want to apologize to the younger generation for what we've done to this earth. And now we need to fix this shit. Okay, we need to fix it right effing now. And we need to do everything we all possibly can to do it. And Trump did not want to answer questions about the environment. Now, he claimed, this is a quote from The Guardian, he had the best environmental numbers ever. And here's the fact. Here's from The Guardian. Fact, it's not clear what environmental numbers Trump is referring to, making it impossible to fact check. But The Guardian compiled 75 ways Trump made the country dirtier and the climate warmer. He also came up with he started going off when they asked him about the environment, about the border. And I did a video on that. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the video is about, he wants to use the border as a talking point. And he was at the border, and he was trying to say the Biden border crisis, but he couldn't quite get it right. He couldn't quite make it sound like a key phrase. And he said it tonight a couple of times. And they killed that bill. And I read that bill a number of times. In fact, that video of the Republican who helped draft that bill has a lot of views on my channel here. Take a look at it. It wasn't a perfect bill. There's no such thing as a perfect bill. But we have needed immigration reform for 30 freaking years. And it was a really good start. And Trump killed it. It was a really good start, my friends. So that's Trump started talking about the border when he was asked about the environment. And then he said something like, I like water. I like clean water. Next fact check is Biden oversold his prescription drug reforms. Facts, Biden said seniors' out-of-pocket costs were capped at $200, but it's $2,000. The cap on insulin cost comes out of pocket. That's $35, more than the $15 Biden claims. So that's a fact check on Biden. And still, he got the numbers wrong. But man, that cap on insulin's huge for seniors. And he's trying to work on it to get it for everybody who suffers from diabetes. And we should have that. They're gouging patients. The border. This is the border fact check from The Guardian. The claim, Trump's border was the most secure in history. The facts. Trump said when he left the presidency, the U.S. had the most secure border in history, and later said hardly anyone was coming through. And then the other fact, when this is a quote, while migrant apprehensions have surged under Biden, the increases began in 2020 during the Trump presidency. And the reason people were seeking to migrate included economic stresses caused by the pandemic and natural disasters, the environment, long-running issues including violence and political instability. So that was why. It was the damn COVID. Damn COVID just really hurt. The economy. Biden said the economy had collapsed and there were no jobs when Trump left office. Facts. That's a bit misleading. Employment rates began to tick up quickly after an initial dip at the beginning of the pandemic before Biden took office. Then there's a whole bunch about tax cuts, and there's a whole bunch about, oh God, January 6th. He lied about January 6th. He lied and he lied and he lied. And he brought Nancy Pelosi into it. Biden talked about the insurrectionists, and Trump said, well, there were a few people and they were invited in. And he blamed Nancy Pelosi for turning down the National Guard. And he said he was trying to get help to the Capitol, and nobody would take his help. So the fact check is this is false. There is no evidence, none whatsoever, that Pelosi got an offer to deploy the National Guard. I know that people love to say that, but it's not true. And the Speaker doesn't have the power to turn down the National Guard. The President, the Defense Secretary, and the Army Secretary have command of the D.C. National Guard. Trump, freaking Defense Secretary, and the Army Secretary are in control of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. So that's some fact checks from The Guardian. I wanted to go through that. The Michael Gold piece in the New York Times is just great. I was going to read some of that for my podcast. Maybe I'll just do that. I don't know how many people are out there. But what I want, quit lying. Here's something. People don't like Nancy admitted turning down. I know that Trump said that, but that my friend, my furry friend, whoever wrote that in all caps, it's not true. I wish it were, if you feel this strongly about it, but she doesn't have the power to turn down the National Guard, and she didn't turn down the National Guard. She didn't say that. It was her daughter's documentary. I've seen it. Clean water. That's what Trump says we need. That's going to fix global warming. Our clean water, he promises we're all going to have clean water. Yeah, sorry about. Leave Nancy Pelosi alone. I have a great picture of me and Nancy Pelosi. This is Barbara Boxer, and that's Hillary Clinton up there. Nancy Pelosi, I covered her for 10 years when I worked in Washington. I was in her office once, and she, did a lot of work with China and trade. And she had this beautiful, China stuff all over her office. And my photographer and I were in there once, and, he had his big camera and stuff, and he went like this, and he knocked over one of these expensive, Ming vases that she had on her counter. And I'm yelling, Bobby, the vase! And she's going, oh, Bobby, are you okay? I cared about the vase. She cared about my photographer. Anyway, nobody likes you. Look at the comments. What do you get when you drink castor oil and holy water? And then someone says, a religious movement, LOL. Let Biden just got caught being fed what to say, the debate. Wow. I was going to start doing late night political woman and just like do this and like kind of update on what happened during the day, especially when the Congress is. Why do you still support Biden? I've never heard so many lies in politics until Trump came onto the scene. They're considering Biden a step down. Okay, so here's the thing about Biden. He has delegates, so he has run in elections and he has delegates. If his wife like talks him into, Joe, I mean, take a break, man. Rest, enjoy your life, take care of your dog, go, be rich someplace. I mean, I think Trump should do that too. If it comes to maybe I will maybe I won't run, which I don't think that'll ever happen. They would have to have the first vote at the convention as a technicality, and then he would have to release all of his delegates to the person that they would choose to replace him. But in my gut, I say he'll never do that. He won't do it. And I say Joe Biden in a wheelchair is better than anybody else. Okay? He's smart. He can build coalitions. He's built this coalition to help Ukraine. And I mean, I was talking about that isolationism. I know that that's a new thing now with Trump and the cult. It won't work. It doesn't work. I mean, it's like the world is even smaller now than it was then. And we're all tied together. And we need to work together and not fight and hate each other. I mean, somebody said, Gloria, you're horrible. Stop. He's a good president. I really know these things. And he's really tried. And Trump wants to be a fascist. And he's attacked women. And juries have found him guilty. And I don't know if you've read all of the stories of all the things he's done to women with Epstein and on and on. I mean, we won't even go there. Let's just talk about the Capitol. And there's my Capitol. And what those people did when they went in there. And all the lying with the fake electors. And the worst thing he's done is the documents, stealing the classified documents. Here's why. People's lives are at risk with those documents just freaking thrown everywhere. If you do that, you're a traitor. You're a traitor. And, he's a rich guy who's gotten away with shit all his life. And it's not right. It's not right. And those of us, who vote and care about this stuff and are really into this stuff, we're smart. And this is what we should be sharing with younger voters who are not, who hate it all and don't want to do this. I mean, it's our responsibility to say this is important. It's important that we do this and we talk about it. And that we talk about it. I'm fine to talk about it. You disagree with me? Fine. Fine. No big deal. No big deal. Here's some of the article from the New York Times and Michael Gold. It's titled Trump's Debate Performance, Relentless Attacks and Falsehoods. The former president's remarks on stage, repeated often on the campaign trail, were striking with his opponent standing a few feet away from him. And this is all quote. For most of Thursday night's debate, former President Donald Trump verbally pummeled President Biden, painting his political opponent as an ineffective leader with a torrent of attacks that were frequently false, lacked context, were vague enough to be misleading. Trump went directly after Biden's personal character, calling him weak and saying that has little respect by global leaders who were laughing at him. Why does he always have to get so personal? He accused Biden, quote, of corruption, dubbing the president as a, quote, Manchurian candidate who was paid by China, a nod to frequent accusations of undue influence for which there is no evidence. There is no evidence. And they don't have any evidence. Because if they had some evidence, the Congress would have done something about it. But they have nothing. All they had was the laptop of the son, and that turned out to be nothing. That turned out to be a bunch of lies. And everybody knows what the Manchurian Candidate is. Have you guys all seen that movie? Oh, you got to watch that movie. It's a great movie. They did two. They had one with Frank Sinatra and Lawrence Harvey, and then there was another one with Liv Shriver. Anyway, and Denzel. Denzel plays the Frank Sinatra part. Oh my God, gotta see it. Back to the article. Quote, he directly blamed Mr. Biden for a wave of immigrants coming in and killing our citizens at a level we've never seen. A hyperbolic claim that is not backed up by available statistics. In a wild misrepresentation of facts, Mr. Trump claimed falsely that Mr. Biden encouraged Russia to attack Ukraine, even though Mr. Biden has consistently tried to rally support for Ukraine, and his administration took active steps to warn President Vladimir Putin of Russia not to invade. You know what really bothers me about Trump too? Saying that our country is a third world country, saying that our country is horrible, and you know what? It's not horrible. It's not, yeah, we have problems. Yeah. But God, if you hate it so much, time to go. There's plenty of other places to live. Trump's remarks, quote, during the debate were not substantially different from the way he typically inveighs against Mr. Biden during his rallies, where he depicts the president as a leader who is somehow both bumbling and corrupt. Yeah, he says Biden is bumbling and can't do anything and is stupid, but then he says he's corrupt, so he must be really smart to be so corrupt. The barrage of attacks during the debate was particularly striking given that Mr. Biden was standing there mere feet away from him, unable to interrupt or effectively challenge Mr. Trump because debate rules kept his microphone muted. And the debate moderators, horrible, CNN's anchors Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, focused on keeping the peace. They did not even try to fact check Mr. Trump's assertions, allowing them to stand unchallenged. It was the worst. It's like journalism is dead. Television journalism has died. And Dana Bash and Jake Tapper are the two killers of television journalism. Biden got in a few licks, including some of the debate's more memorable moments. Oh, most memorable moment. He said Trump had the morals of an alley cat and accused him of having sex with a porn star while his wife was pregnant. Biden also mentioned the E. Jean Carroll. You attacked a woman, you have to pay her because you attacked her. And you know what the funniest thing is, and I have that video, I recorded it from CNN. Maybe I'll make a little video out of it and post it tomorrow. Biden's going on and on about all the things that Trump has done. And Trump's standing there and he's nodding and he's going, yeah. And then after he does all of that, Trump says, I didn't have sex with the porn star. And it's like, of all the things that Trump's been accused of, that's the one thing that there's tons of evidence that, oh, yes, he did, because of the trial. The trial had just occurred. By and large, Mr. Biden was on the defensive from the get-go in the face of a steady stream of insults, false characterizations, and attacks from Mr. Trump. And Biden did stutter and stumble, but Trump did get in his Biden migrant crime. That's the phrase that Trump likes. That's the phrase that this is why we don't have an immigration bill. I don't know what some of the comments are. Trump 2024 stuff, nothing but Trump is doing all of this because of his tiny, yep, I see a little mushroom. All the Democrats, DC will now invoke the 25th Amendment. RFK, oh my God, I don't know. RFK, wow. He's really cuckoo. No Biden 2024, Trump 2024. I mean, anybody who I don't know, my friends. Trump 2024, what about him becoming a dictator? What about the camps that he wants to build and deport everybody? I grew up in Fresno, California. Who's going to handle the harvest? I ask farmers. Trump 2024, I see all flags. Trump 2024. So back to the article. I'm reading from the New York Times and an article about Trump's attacks on Biden and all of the falsehoods. And because CNN's effed up now, there was no fact checking. I see FJB. Of all the things, that people do about Joe Biden, it's that FJB. It's so cheap. It's so easy. It's like, oh, we'll just say this. It's like, they, haters need to get another phrase. Oh, Trump's forceful attacks surrounded immigration, quote, an issue that animated his successful 2016 campaign. And he tries to blame the White House for all of the problems at the border. Former president invoked the idea of Biden migrant crime. Trump accused Biden of ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies that foster a crime wave, pointing to high-profile killings that involved immigrants. He vaguely accused Biden of killing so many at our border by not curbing the surge of migrants, an assertion that he does not have statistics to back up. He constantly attacked Biden, and I'm paraphrasing, on the world stage. He said that Putin was laughing at Biden. The whole country is exploding because they don't respect you, Mr. Trump told Mr. Biden. I'm reading, and Biden did tell Trump, well, you're a felon. And then Trump then said to Biden, your son's a felon. So, I don't know. It got ugly. It wasn't the best debate I've ever seen. It was just an embarrassment. It was a train wreck. It was a train wreck because of CNN, because CNN's just given up. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. Thanks you all for being there, even the haters who hate me and say that I'm just need to shut up. And can't you see people just hate you? You are embarrassing. I'm so past ever being embarrassed about anything. I have a level of expertise in politics and in communications, and that's why I'm here. And it's important that you listen to both sides. If you think I'm embarrassing, I'm sorry. But I am a political reporter, and I'm going to be doing this regularly. So come back, join me. I'd like to get some of my friends on TikTok to join me, some of my political friends. Cry. Oh, that's another thing. Like, people always insult me and then they tell me to go cry. It's like, we don't cry in politics. There's no crying when you're a political reporter. Also, I was on television for 20 years. I have been called every name in the book. I have been told I'm ugly and, and on and on, like insulting, horrible. People write horrible things. And it's like, whatever. You are crying. Honey, when I cry, you'll know it. Oh my God, please don't say Latinas for Trump. Latinas for Trump, see you at the ovens, okay? I'll see you out when we're being deported. You think he's not thinking that? You're living in a frickin' dream world. You care about your kids? You care about, little ones? Grow up. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Please follow me. Please listen to my podcasts. I'm going to put that together right now. Earlier, I couldn't figure out how to. Right between the two. Donald, here legally. I'm second generation. It doesn't matter. Are they going to come, when they're rounding people up, when they were rounding people up in Europe, when Hitler was wanted to get rid of all the people who weren't white, okay? They didn't ask for your papers. They didn't ask if you were legal or illegal. They just took you to the ovens, baby. It's bad. I'm being flip about it, but it's not. This is serious. It's serious. And go online and look up Project 2025 and see what they want to do. See what they want to do. And who it is it's Christian, and I don't think they're Christian. I went to Catholic school. I didn't go to Catholic school. I went to catechism. And this is not what Jesus talked about, my friends. Anyway, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for being here. And what a debate. It was not good. It wasn't Joe Biden's greatest moment, but whatever. He's better than the alternative. And he's my guy. And yay for Ukraine. Be safe. Hi, everybody. Gloria Moraga here. So you've been listening to my live post that I created on TikTok. So I thought I would just record what I was saying and talking about and turn it into a podcast. I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis and just creating 2 files and posting this file here on my podcast. It's important that we all pay attention to what's happening right now in our country. And I'll be here to try to document as much as I possibly can. I love you. Thank you for listening. And as I said when I was live, be safe.